Everybody, welcome back to Regina's World. For those who don't know who I am, I'm Regina, and on this channel we do Storytime Mondays, which we're doing today. We do Review Wednesdays of Married at First Sight, and my adventures or whatever it is I'm doing over the weekend with myself, my fiance, or my children, or my friends, And I just dropped a video of me and my friends going to the haunted cornfield. Go check that out, please. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. Follow me on my social media. Keyshawn for Reese Robinson on Instagram and Sleepless and LVNV on... No, Keyshawn for Reese Robinson on Facebook and Sleepless and LVNV on Instagram. But as I said previously, this is a story time, and this story time is on domestic violence and my experience with domestic violence. So this is a very sensitive, touchy subject. So if you want to hear my story on domestic violence, continue to watch. Let's get right into this video. Alright, so previously, maybe a month or maybe even 2 months now. It's been 2 months. I think in my first story time, it was about growing up in an abusive home. And for those who don't know, my household was an abusive household. My stepfather married my mother and became abusive to her from the ages of when I was 9, and up until they separated when I was in high school. They both passed away, and from different types of cancers, right? But for many years, it was like a forever ending situation. He would get drunk, he would get high, he would come home, he would beat my mom. And that cycle of stuff happened often for a majority of my childhood. So when I started dating, I had a vision. This is not the kind of man that I would date, right? I would never date a man who would ever raise his fist to a woman. And I was good, with that for a long time. He used to ask me up front, do you hit women? Do you hit women? And if they would say yes, I'd be like, I will never talk to them again. So I ended up meeting my first guy who actually hit women. It was me and my 2 sisters. We was actually walking down St. Louis. We was downtown St. Louis. Yes, we were in downtown. And this light-skinned guy, I had a preference back in the day, light-skinned. I dated a lot of light-skinned guys. And he was a light-skinned guy. He came up to us downtown. He kind of pointed me out and was like, I want to date you. It was, again, it was me and my 2 sisters with me. And he was like, I want to date you. And we kind of started dating, and my other sister was dating his cousin. And, he was cool. He was a drug dealer. That's what we, St. Louis, that's what really they got out there, is drug dealers or whatever. And he was a drug dealer, and he was cool, He used to pick me up after I got out of school, and he used to pick me up, and he used to take me around with him as he did his thing. We never had a really major issue. He was a more quiet type or whatever. And so his cousin was the more talkative, more fun, more outgoing kind. And my sister was, as I said, my sister was dating him. So this particular night, it was a nighttime, this particular day, I was with them the whole day. We was having a fine day, right? And this particular day, my sister was at work, and we was waiting on her to get off work because we was supposed to be going to the Lake of the Ozarks for the weekend together. So his cousin gets in the car, and I speak to his cousin. That's all I did. I spoke to his cousin. Apparently, I should have no, I think his cousin was already in the car. And when I got in the car, I spoke to his cousin first. I just said, hi, so-and-so, so-and-so. Hi, baby. I did not know the rules of the game, that I was supposed to speak to him first before I speak to his cousin. So he didn't speak to me the whole time, and I was like, did I do something? I was asking his cousin, like, why is he mad at me? I don't even know what I did. Like, what I did? And he whispered to me when he got out the car, like, he's mad at you because you spoke to me first. I was like, so? And he's like, just when he get back in the car, just try to, ease, talk to him and whatever. So I was like, okay. So when he get back in the car, I try to talk to him, and then he just became disrespectful. He was like, bitch, fuck you. And I was like, what? And he's like, motherfucker, fuck you. He wasn't even hearing me anymore. At this point, it was over, right? Like, this relationship was over. I was like, okay. I was like, well, you can just kind of let me out, because he was in my neighborhood, right? He was in my neighborhood. And he drove me around the whole day. He wouldn't drop me off. He wouldn't let me out his car. He wouldn't anything. He was picking up bitches, like bringing them in his car and stuff while I was in there. And I was just kind of stuck in the back seat. And I was like, look, we're at my gas station. I don't live far from here. Just let me out and I can just walk home. This was probably like midnight, something like that, somewhere all close to midnight. I was like, you could just let me walk home, and we can just call it whatever. And he was like, fuck you. I had braids in my head this night, right? So he gets out of the car. First, he slaps me, right? He tells me to get in the front seat. I'm in the front seat. Yes, I'm trying to remember this story correctly. I'm in the front seat. He slaps me. I slap him back, because this is the first time a man ever hit me, right? I slapped him back. He was like, this bitch fucking hit me. He fucking went berserk. He started whooping my ass in that car. His cousin just got out of the car and was like, I ain't gotta do this. He got out of the car, just started walking away. Like, this happens before. This happens quite often, right? So he gets out of the car and he tried to come around the car to yank me out of the car. I locks the door. So he runs back around the car before I can lock his door. He gets in, grabs my hair, yanks me. And back then I was little, because I was in high school and played sports, all that stuff. So I was little, maybe 125 pounds. So he yanks me across the seat, pulled me out of the seat by my braids, grabbed me by my little bitty neck, picks me up, slams me on the front, on the hood of his car, choking the life out of me. Surprisingly, I'm gonna stop the story right there. Surprisingly, this gas station was one of the busiest gas stations in my neighborhood. There was always people at this gas station. This particular night, this gas station was empty. I couldn't believe that this was happening to me, right? So when he slams me onto the hood of the car, he was like, bitch, I will kill you. He finna get a gun out of his trunk and blow my head off. This is what he said to me. I finna go and get my motherfucking gun, and I'm gonna blow your motherfucking head off. I don't even remember how the hell I got away. That is the honest to God truth. I think I just took off running. If he would just start shooting, he would have just started shooting. Like, that was the only thing. When he just got off of me and went to his trunk, because he was really going to get a gun, I just took off running. Like, what the hell? So when I finally got home, I called my sister, because I told you again she was at work. I called her in a panic to let her know what just happened. When she came home, she was like, what the fuck? I didn't tell my brother. I didn't tell anybody, because if I would have told my brother, that would have just trickled into a whole nother thing, and he was a blood, and the guy that I was dating was a Crip, I believe, and that just would have been World War III. I didn't want all that. Like, so I didn't say anything to my brother. I just went home. He was outside with his neighbor friends. They were doing their thing. I was just like, hey, I'm home. I was waiting on my sister to come home so I could tell her what just happened. That was my first experience. I said, never again, never again. Didn't know I was finna run right back into it years later. So I had thought I had got a good enough, experience. Like, I'm good. I was seeing my sister go through the type of stuff with her boyfriends. My sister was a whole other story. She took domestic violence to the extreme. Like she was trying to run men over with her car. She took it to the extreme. That's another story time. But but I was watching her as I grew up, and I was emulating her, and I didn't even know I was emulating her. So until I moved to the Vegas, and then I met my baby father, and our relationship turned violence pretty quickly. The first time he ever hit me, well, you know what? I would take responsibility for a lot of it at the beginning, because at the beginning, we did a lot of arguing, but he didn't raise his fist until later. I did a lot of instigating, because by now I have took on the habits of my sister. Like, I have became my sister. Like, what she did, I did. I was 17, 18. So what she did, I did. If she busted out tires, I was busting out tires at this time. I was cutting up clothes by this time. Like, I was doing whatever I saw my sister do, I was doing it too. So he didn't raise his fist initially. He was just, he was like, what the? Because I believe his prior relationship, he was fighting in that relationship. And then he ended up dating me, and then we started fighting in our relationship. But I was a little bit more than what his previous girlfriend was, and he didn't know that. I didn't know how crazy I was at 18. So yes, I admit, at the beginning, I was a lot. I was flattening his tires, I shook at his tank, I cut up his clothes, I bleached his clothes, any electronics he had, I broke it all, I threw it out, I threw it over balconies, I crashed his stuff. But I never put my finger on him. I never touched him. I destroyed his stuff, but I never touched him. So he touched me for the first time. And this was, I remember it, well, this wasn't the first time. This is the first time I actually can remember. This was a full-on, fight. Like, we had a full-on fight. Because previously, I was doing a lot. And, but this was a full-on fight that we had. This was after my son was born. And, we was in a bedroom. Like, we had two bedrooms, I believe. And my babies had their own room. Trey, the youngest, was an infant. So at this time, we had no communication. Like, it was worse than what it is now. We have bad communication now. Back then, it was worse. So we didn't do talking back in the day. We did fighting. Anytime we wanted to express ourselves, we was angry, we fought. So if we wanted to come home and slap a bitch, he would come home and slap a bitch. Like, if he wanted to come home and choke a bitch, he'll come home and choke a bitch. And by this time, I didn't know how embedded this was in me, seeing it my entire life, growing up from my parents, watching my sister do it for many, many years. It is in me, and I didn't even know it was in me. But this is how I am, handling any type of relationships or whatever that I am. I immediately go to violence. And we had this huge fight. I don't even remember what it was for. We had this huge fight. I put my baby down in the bassinet. We went into the room, and we just was fighting. And he hit me so hard in the jaw, my feet came off the floor. I flew across the room. And then it was two sides to me. One side was stay down. He knocked your ass out. Just stay here. The other side was get your ass up. You was not a bitch. You get a hammer and bust his motherfucking head. And that's what the evil side of me won. And I got right back up and tried to get a hammer and bust his motherfucking head. And so that's the violent side. I did a lot. I tried, as I said previously, I tried to hit him with a hammer, hit him with bricks, hit him with bottles. Anytime, you raise your fist at me, this probably still in me today. It ain't went nowhere. I just don't have to deal with that anymore because I won't even go there anymore. I said, but back in the day when I was 18, you hit me at this point now, I'm going to damn near kill you. Because you're going to have to really fight me, because I'm going to that extreme. Like, so yes, that's how I was when I was 18. And it terrifies me because that became very normal. That became very normal. For a long time, that became very normal. And it became so normal that we went to jail so much during those times. Both of us equally. We went to jail so much. I was always in jail for domestic violence. Got charged twice for domestic violence and assault and battery. If they would have charged me a lot more, because he took a lot of the cases, they would just let me go and he'd take it all. But they charged me twice. The second time they charged me, the judge kind of just straightened me out, because she said, I see you one more, it was the same judge. She said, if I see you one more time in here, I'm going to sit you down in Clark County Jail for a year. That was the only thing that I needed to hear, because I'm like, I'm not finna sit in no jail for no year for smacking a bitch. That's not even worth it. I gotta sit in jail for a year for that? I said I would never raise my fist again. And I didn't. I never raised my fist again. But prior to that, I was raising my fist all the time. Just because I was angry. I moved to California with him. And that was the worst place to move, actually, in California. Because in California, the laws are different than Vegas. Domestic violence and alcohol driving, drunk driving, DUI is like the number 1 and 2 crimes out in Vegas. In California, they don't care that much. You know, you fight, the police come out, they tell you to, separate, come back tomorrow. That's like the same laws that they have in Missouri. They don't really, punish you for having a fight with your significant other. So California, I remember he said to me one time, oh, you in my city now. I can beat the shit out of you and can't nobody do shit. The police ain't gonna do shit. I'm not going to jail for beating the shit out of you. My children used to witness this over and over and over. And this was sad because I witnessed it with my parents over and over and over. Do you see the pattern? Do you see the point that I'm trying to get to? So my children used to jump in the middle of us and be like, Dad, stop hitting Mom. Dad, stop hitting Mom. Dad, stop hitting Mom. And he would be so mad, he would just push him out of the way and keep on pounding. And his family used to really think it was just like me who is just this evil person. And his son would never do that. My son would never do that. This is all you. And I'm physically telling his aunts and uncles, no, your son, your nephew does this. I remember talking to his auntie one time, breastfeeding my child, talking to her about it in my living room. Like, no, if he come home today and if he wanted to, he was in a bad mood and he wanted to fucking fight, he would just come in and slap me and we'll start fighting. And she was like, what? Maurice would not do anything like that. Yeah, he would. I'm living it. I'm telling you people what it's like living with him. And no one listening, because y'all have this, this idea of who I am, and you really don't know me, even though they've known of me for a very long time. They have an idea of who I am in their mind because of how they met me. That's their presumption of who I am completely. And that's not the case at all, right? So, that's his family. They take his side, fine. My family is my family. They take my side. But my family has never done is like, talk bad about them. They actually still to this day is like, he's the best guy, he's the best father. My family is totally different from his. His family, that's another story time. But the point I was trying to make is a lot of women deal with domestic violence issues. Young, older women still. And I used to get asked this question a lot. Why did you leave the relationship? And when I was willing to leave, because I was ready in my mind, I was mentally ready to leave. Once I was ready to leave, I found out I was pregnant with my baby Trey. And I was in a situation where I wasn't financially able to leave because he was the provider at the time. And so that is a problem with a lot of women. They relinquish control. The man takes care of the woman. He beats her. She don't feel like she can, go anywhere. She don't have a job. She don't have any money. That was my issue. I didn't have a job. I didn't have any money. I didn't have anywhere to go. He was paying for everything. Now I'm pregnant with his kid. And I just felt trapped. I felt trapped. Like, I just deal with it because I'm pregnant again. And I was too afraid to actually tell my sister at the time. I didn't want to tell her that I was pregnant because I just didn't want to hear, anything negative because I was already dealing with enough. She found out I was pregnant, I think I was 6 months. I didn't tell her at all because I just didn't want to hear it because she was the last one who actually, she hated my baby father for a long time. And I just did not want to tell her that I was pregnant with his kid. I didn't. So that's one of the reasons why when women people ask, why don't you just leave? It's never really that simple to just get up and leave. You need to have a plan. And there is definitely places that you can go for women that shelter the bruised. If you in a state like myself, when I was in Cali, I didn't have anybody in Cali. At least in Vegas, I had my sister here in Vegas. When I was in Cali, it was just him and his family in Cali. And they didn't have my back. You know what I mean? They was for and all for him. They wasn't for me. So it takes a little time for you to actually walk away from a person. And especially an abusive person. And if you was raised in a certain way that's all you saw, you think that's what love's supposed to do. That's what it's supposed to look like. You're supposed to get hit. That's how your man's supposed to show you that he loves you. And I didn't know that was in my psyche until, I started dating, and that's what I started attracting. People who hit me. That's not what I wanted, you know what I mean? But that's what I was attracting because this is what I grew up around. So those women who's in abusive relationships, black women, they probably have seen growing up their parents fighting, their mother being hit, their sisters being hit, and they're associating that with love, and they're thinking that that's what it's supposed to be. They've seen, cars getting busted, windows getting busted out, clothes getting thrown, they've seen it all. And they're doing exactly what they seen growing up, and that's exactly what happened to me. And so how I actually ended the violence, and this is exactly just what I did. I once again took a page out of my sister's book. My sister got to a certain age and was like, I'm not fighting a nigga no more. I'm just calling the cops. And that's I took a page out of my sister's book again. It took him a minute to get, I'm not fighting you anymore. I'm just going to send your ass to jail, and I'm going to keep sending your ass to jail over and over and over. And if they lock your ass up for a very, 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 very long time, then maybe you need to sit your ass down for a very, very, very long time. He used to try to do the switcheroo on my brain, oh, you used to be a bad, a bad bitch. Bad bitches take their ass whoopings and shit. They don't call cops. Take your ass whooping like you supposed to. That's what type of shit he used to say. And I was like, well, I must not be no bad bitch because you hit me, you going to jail. You hit me, you going to jail. You hit me, you're going to jail. And I don't play by that rule anymore. If I meet a man and, real bitches don't call the cops. Bullshit. I don't know what the fuck you thinking. You're not finna black my eye. You're not finna break my ribs. You're not finna cut up none of my stuff. You're not gonna ruin my life. You're not gonna send me to jail because I gotta fight you. Absolutely not. You raise your fist. I don't care how much I claim I love you or you claim you love me. There's not enough money in the world that you can give me. There's not enough kisses that you can give me. There's not enough times you can eat my pussy to say sorry. No, I'm not finna hide my bruises because you think you want to take your anger out on me. No, let's see how bad your ass is when you go to jail. Will you do that shit when the man is pressing you? Will you do that shit when a man is pressing you? I think not. You're not going to do it in jail. You're going to be a little punk in jail. Because if you didn't care, like, fine, call the cops then. I'm finna whoop your ass while I'm on the way to the jail too. Okay. But no, then you run and hide. He used to go run and hide after I called 911. Then he used to run and hide. And then call my mom. Oh, she's calling the cops. What you trying to raise your fist for then? What you jumping in my face then for? What you doing all that for? If you're too afraid to go to jail, you should be too afraid to jump in my face. Period. If you too afraid to battle a man, if you too afraid to get some handcuffs put on you, if you too afraid to sit your ass down in a jailhouse for about a year, then you should be too afraid to fucking jump in my face. You should be too afraid to fucking yell at me and disrespect me. You should be too afraid to do any of that if you ain't gonna do it to a man. So ladies out there who is dealing with bitch ass niggas, and I said it, who is too afraid to do some shit to a man, they damn sure don't have no space to be doing it to you. And you shouldn't be afraid of his punk ass, and you damn sure shouldn't be afraid to fucking send his ass to jail. And once you realize you got power, baby, by calling 911, let him say whatever he want to say about you. Let him call you everything under the sun. Take it. Say, yep, I'm all that. Now come over here and hit me if you want to. You're going to jail. You gonna see him change his tune every single time. Yeah, go sit your happy ass down. I'm not lying. He still do it to this day. All you're gonna do is call the cops. I sure am. I'm 35 years old. Ain't nobody finna be rustling and tussling with you, fighting with you, breaking my stuff. I pay good money for this goddamn villa. Do you think I'm finna be rustling and tussling with you? Absolutely not. No. You at an age now. I'm definitely at an age. He's at an age now. You may got choices to make. If this ain't what it is, you can always move out. You can get your own place. But what you ain't finna do is hit this pretty face. What you ain't finna do is hurt me. You ain't finna do none of that. I would just send you to jail and won't think about it tomorrow. Don't call me for conjugal. Don't call me for put money on my books. I ain't fucking with you. When you was out, you didn't know how to act right. Now you need to fend for yourself while you're in prison. See you later. But for those who have gone through this, I have very much sympathy for you. I will have information about in Nevada in the description box of places that women can go who's been battered. I might even drop a I'll probably look up something like a domestic violence group. What did you call support groups? I might even find one of those and put them down in the description box for anybody who's in Nevada and who finds this video and need a little help. Don't hesitate to reach out. Don't hesitate to reach out to your family. Don't be scared to do something that is for you, that can get you out of a situation. If you're not strong enough to do it yourself, if you're afraid to do it yourself, reach out to people that can actually help you do it. Because once you get out of it, you ain't gonna go back to it. You're not gonna. You don't want to live like that. And I'm here to let you know you don't have to. Take the power back. Control this situation. Send that man to jail if he's hitting you. And don't be afraid to send him to jail. Every single time he raises his fist. Every single time he gets aggressive with you. Every single time until he get it in his mind that I can't do this anymore, or she's going to send me to jail. And don't feel bad about it. Take your control back, because that's all he's doing is controlling you with fear. Now take your control back and let him know, I may be afraid of you, but I'm smart enough because I'm finna save my life. You're going to jail. So I'm going to end this video right here. It became kind of lengthy, but thank you for, if you've made it this far, I want to thank you for watching this video. I hope this reached somebody. I hope this touches somebody. Again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment to this video. And I want to have a discussion. I want to have an open discussion about domestic violence in relationships. Let's talk about it down in the description box below. Thank you for watching again. And again, follow me on my social media, Keyshawn Voorhees Robinson on Facebook, and Sleepless and LVNV on Instagram. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.